How do you develop? How do you practice? Are you in the house writing and rhyming when we don't see you?
Yes and no, not in that state. It's not like it's clear cut, like practice like a NBA player before a game, but you are honing in on your craft, you're working on it, you're studying, you're listening to what you enjoy. The lucky thing for me is hip hop is like a sport, but while you're studying and learning your craft, you're just listening to music you enjoy. So it's not a job. It's not like I have to go to practice per se, but I'm honing in on my skill because I enjoy it. And I'm listening to Nas, and I'm listening to Jay, and I'm enjoying the music. I happen to start picking it apart like a scientist once I start listening to the nuances and seeing how they deliver the shit. Then I'm like, okay, let me learn what's going on to apply it to what I'm doing. But I'm just doing what I enjoy. Like, I make music from a place of love. I really care about the culture. I truly care about this shit, bro. Like, I make music for people who care about dope shit. That's it. I don't care about the numbers, the accolades. I'm not trying to appeal to nothing. I'm making what I like for people who like cool stuff. That is it.
The Toure Show. Okay, though. The Toure Show. Okay, though.
That might be the best question I've ever been asked.
You're a phenomenal person. I mean, you legendary.
I am a fan of you, my brother.
Grafh is a hot rapper from Queens, got a new album called God's Timing. We talk about everything about watching his father get killed, coming up in the industry, being in the streets, what it's like to be an independent rapper. This is a brother who keeps it real about being an MC. Amazing conversation. Let's get into it. It's Grafh on Toure Show. Grafh, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm happy, actually. Yeah, I'm good spirits.
Take me back to how you started MCing.
How I started MCing, I think.
In South Jamaica, Queens?
Yeah, Jamaica. I'm from Jamaica, Queens for sure. And I took an interest in creating my own music once I heard Nas.
Okay, Illmatic.
Nas, Illmatic. When I was too young when I heard Illmatic, I didn't get it the first time. Went over my head like,
how old were you at Illmatic?
I don't know, fucking junior high school or some shit.
Okay.
But it was over my head.
Okay.
But then as I grew into it, I was like, this shit is amazing.
Okay.
And when he dropped It Was Written, Forget It, I was like mind blown. But Nas was the reason I began to create music. Because he was the first rapper that I realized was rapping about what was occurring outside his window.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I was like, shit, I look at my window and see the same things.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he was delivering it, lyrical, wordy, intelligent, I was like, this is me. I identify with that. And I ran with that.
It's interesting that Nas inspired you because he set such an incredibly high bar that, you know, I would feel like, well, I can't do that, right? There's other MCs who I could see somebody being like, oh, I think I could do that. But like, this is, you know, I mean, the lyrics, the cadences, the flows, it is everything. This is one of the greatest MCs of all time. You know?
And that was my blueprint. I was like, I'm doing that.
I want to do that.
So I knew I was going to be just good at whatever I put my mind to, but particularly music, I was like, if that's your reference, then you.
So how old were you when you started getting serious about MCing?
Probably high school, like 15, 16. I tried to, especially when it became like a vehicle to express emotion, because, you know, being from the hood when you're young, you just really learn how to express anger. You don't really learn how to express true emotion. You're not that self-aware or emotionally intelligent young coming from the hood, because you don't learn how to, you learn expressing emotion is weak. Expressing love is weak.
Yes.
Are you crying, nigga, man up? You don't learn to be expressive.
Vulnerable?
Hell no. Young? No, definitely. We don't learn to be vulnerable as grown-ass men. So imagine young. Definitely not. So for me, music was a vehicle of self-expression. So when I was younger, around 16, my dad, unfortunately, got murdered across the street from where my aunt was living.
I'm so sorry.
And I was there. I had to witness that.
You saw your dad get shot?
Him and his friend got shot across the street from where my aunt was living at, by my neighbor. The neighbor next door to the house that they were in, next door to my aunt's house, that's who.
Can you say, like, what was the situation that caused that to happen?
I don't really know. Something to do with money, but I know my dad was not expecting any type of violent activity, because he died with his hands in his pocket with a smile on his face. He wasn't thinking about being on the defense. His hand was in his pocket, he was smiling. And then his friend saw the gun and tried to run and got hit in the back and he fell out the house. So he killed my dad in the house, but right at the front door.
How did you feel?
At that time?
Yeah, in that moment.
Empty. I didn't, as a matter of fact, everything that happened that week, to this day, I have no recollection of. Only what my family and friends told me happened that week. Right. I don't remember anything. Only thing I remember, the one thing I remember, my dad was like in and out of my life, he was trying to be the best dad he could, but I guess he just got caught up with life. I remember there was a polo jacket, because I was really into polo at that time. It was a polo jacket I always wanted, but I guess at that time it was like $500. It was expensive at that time. And he was like, I'm gonna buy you a jacket, I'm gonna buy you the jacket. But he never bought the jacket. And then when he died, I remember my mom running to go buy the jacket because she knew I wanted it, and he promised to get it and didn't get it for me. So she ran and got it for me. And I remember loving the jacket until, let me tell the story backwards. I don't know if she bought it before or after he got murdered, but I remember after losing him, I took the jacket back. I didn't want it anymore. Like whatever it meant to me at that time, which it meant the world when I got it, I just didn't want it. Maybe I didn't want it from her, or maybe he promised it to me and I didn't get it from him. I just took it back. And I know at that age, me being a polo head that was huge, really significant in what kind of pain I was feeling and not expressing. I also remember going to school the next day like nothing happened. My teachers and everybody was like, you sure you want to be here? You want to go home? I was like, no, I'm good, I'm chilling. I went to school the next day like nothing happened. Everybody looking at me like, you sure you want to be here in school? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Went to class. And from then, I just became like a robot. I don't think I deal with emotions and trauma very well.
Ever since that moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of event happening in front of you would like freeze you.
Yeah. I don't think I was very emotionally available for a long time. I'm actually like going through therapeutic measures now.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, there's many times in life I'm like, I should be reacting to this scenario and I feel nothing. Like I'm numb to so much shit that I should care about. Like, people be like, oh, I don't give a fuck. I be like, yeah, I don't give a fuck either, but I want to. I just can't. But I know it's an issue because I should care. It's like shit that I want to care about. I be like, I wish I cared about that thing right there, but for some reason I don't.
So you're blocked.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
it's heavy that you are aware of it, but still, you still right. Like I know I'm blocked, but I can't get out of it.
That's what I'm dealing with now. I'm like, I can tell, like, looking for the key to this lock. I'm just trying to figure it out. For me, music is a big vehicle for that. So I use music and stuff to express a lot of this bottled up pain. Without the music, I'd probably be a fucking serial killer. Who knows? But like the music for me is very therapeutic.
But you were saying that moment with your father is part of what propelled you into hip hop.
I think I was rapping before that, but after that, it definitely became a vehicle to express.
Because you needed to deal with the emotion.
Yeah, because I never learned how to deal with emotion. Still, probably. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
So I don't think I ever effectively learned how to deal with emotion. I could tell from my relationship with women, there's always some toxic shit going on. Not now. Now I'm a little more
chill.
Little more, but I still got some shit going on. But the amount of toxic relationships I had, I'm like, okay, it's probably a you thing. It's probably not them. Or maybe I'm attracting toxic people because of whatever I'm giving off.
What you're
so yeah.
So you're 15, 16, 17, writing. Are you getting in the studio? Are you doing battle raps? Are you doing ciphers? Like, what are you doing?
I was doing a lot of battling back then, and I was like really good. I had long ass raps, and I was killing everyone, competition-wise, battling. So I came up in the battle scene, underground. Like when I first started getting to the studio, one of my first songs was like with Mos Def and Talib Kweli. It was called. It was a song dedicated to Amadou Diallo.
How did you get on a song with Mos, Yassine,
back then,
and Talib as a very, very young MC?
I made a lot of noise in the underground, and I got down with my brother 88 Keys. You know 88 Keys?
Yeah.
Me and him had not a company together. I was kind of signed to him back then when I was like probably 17 or some shit, or 18. And then that's when I started to get my feet wet in the business and learned how cool it was to make music professionally, but how savage this business is because you go through some hella... Like the first deal I went through, man, I was probably 18. I think I was 18 because I was legally old enough to sign a document. I I remember the dude put a deal on the table. I made a record with 88, and his guy put a contract on the table and said, and had a check next to it. I'm in a room.
How much?
At that time, probably like maybe 5 G's or 10 G's. But I know at 18, 17, I felt like $1 million.
Right.
So whatever, it was probably like 5 G's or 10 G's, something like that. But 18-year-old from the hood, that felt like, oh, I'm good forever. Like at that age, you know what I'm saying? So whatever, it was probably like 5 or 10, something like that. I just know it felt like my eyes were like at the zeros on the check.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, here's a contract. You know, I'm really interested in this song. You could sign this right now and take this money, or you can bring it to your lawyer. I don't know. You know, maybe this dollar amount might change. I don't really know. It might have to be a smaller check. I'm not really sure. But, you know, if you want to sign it right now, you can take this right now. Or you can take it to your lawyer, figure it out. We can work it out from there. I'm young. I don't know no better. So I'm just like,
do it.
And you're too ashamed or insecure to admit you don't know what you're reading in a contract at this age. This happens to a lot of, especially minorities, because you might be sitting either with your lawyer and he might be talking to you a way that you don't truly understand him. And instead of you saying, can you break that down? Or I don't understand, you just nod and smile and go along with it like you know what the fuck is going on. You're harming yourself. I'm too young to realize this at the time. So, you know, I'm like, nah, let me read it over. So I'm looking through the contract. Looks good to me. I signed this shit just to take this money because I'm looking at the check and I'm not realizing what I'm signing. And as I grew older and learned the business and I read the contract for that particular record, I signed away all my rights. All pub, everything.
For 10?
I didn't know any better. I didn't even, that was the
No,
first,
of course you didn't know.
That was the first time I ever saw a contract in my life. I never saw a contract before. You know what I'm saying? I'm young.
Right.
And I just made a song. So I'm like, you want to put this out? Well, I'm not even understanding the concept of release a record or what that means.
But that helps, that moment where you're getting robbed, everybody gets robbed at the beginning.
I robbed a few times.
Right. That helps you get to getting in the studio with Black Star.
Well, many moments in between that one. But that began my journey into this game. Because how I actually got in the game for real, I was going to college. I was going to St. John's University.
Oh, shit.
Studying medicine.
How far did you get in St. John's?
My 3rd year.
Oh, shit.
And then Busta Rhymes found me. Because I was battle rapping and going viral. Well, not viral, because back then shit wasn't viral. But like, I was creating a buzz for myself through like public access TV and all of that kind of shit. All the means we had that was popping back then. And he was watching me battle and destroy a bunch of dudes in Brooklyn at this record shop.
Uh-huh.
And somehow he sent somebody to my school to find me, like, find that dude. And I ended up connecting with Busta while I was studying school and taking rap serious and moving around with him and stuff like that. And then I ended up stopped going to school. I did 3 years and I didn't finish.
Wait, what was your major?
Physical science.
Were you there before J. Cole? You at St. John's before J. Cole?
He came right when I left.
So did you know him as college?
Not in school. I knew him after that. I didn't know him in school. I think him and Rev Run's daughter went right when I left. They went there.
Yo, there's not...
Or maybe they were there when I was there. I didn't even know. I
not
can't
that
even
many MCs who did a lot of college, right?
Word, yeah.
That's
true.
what's up.
Yeah.
So wait, now, we roll back for a minute, right? Because you're growing up in Jamaica, Queens.
Yeah.
Were you in the streets?
Yes, I was.
What were you doing?
All the wrong shit.
Oh.
Everything wrong, I did it. I was hustling since I was 15, I ain't gonna lie. Even my whole career, because to fund a rap career, if you're not signed to a major, or you have an investor behind you, or the neighborhood dope boy behind you, you're not going to make it, because this shit is expensive.
Yeah.
And I just happened to be the neighborhood dope boy for myself. So I was invested in me, you know what I mean?
So you was doing really well?
In the street?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna say really well, like I'm Pablo Escobar or some shit, but I was just doing what I felt I had to do to
Were you on the street or were you distributing?
Nah, distributing. For me, being on the street was for the little homies.
Right. So that's a higher level, because some people were hand to hand.
Yeah, nah, I wasn't.
Some people were distributing.
I wasn't doing that.
Did you get caught up?
Yeah, but I got lucky. I didn't have to do a bunch of time like some other people. God just always protected me from certain things. And I was never greedy. I was never trying to hustle to be fucking top of the world drug dealer. I was hustling to rap.
Yeah.
To fund this.
That was always
dream.
the goal, to hustle for that.
I wanted to fund the dream. Yeah, I just wanted to do this.
How much time you do?
Nah, I didn't get locked up for that.
Oh, wow.
Like, my little shit was nothing I would even talk about. I didn't go to prison and sit no amount of time for no crimes. I was just lucky and blessed, and I just knew when to moonwalk out of shit. I just knew when to like get away. I think greed and just a streak of bad luck is what ends up being a lot of hustlers' downfalls. If you're outside doing the wrong shit, trying to do too much or trying to get to the bigger score. I didn't want to be the man in the street. Nah, yeah. I wanted to be the man in rap.
A lot of the guys who are at the distributor level, they're incognito. You never see them, right? They right. Like stay low. So you're like...
No, but I was kind of like that though. Anybody that came to me talking about, yo, Grafh, I heard you got this, any kind of work. I'm like, what? Who told you that? I didn't want to. I wasn't broadcasting this shit. I was like, I'm a rapper, goddammit. Like, plus I wanted my success to look like it came from music, especially as I'm climbing the chart, climbing notoriety wise, and I'm dropping mixtapes and I'm doing all of this shit, and I'm buzzing as Grafh the rapper. I wanted it to look like rap money. I didn't ever want it to seem like it was coming from another source, because for me, in my head, it just felt like almost like a slight sense of failing if you don't believe the facade. I got the rapper uniform on, I got the chains on, I'm with all the other rappers, but I'm not making the same money they making. My shit is coming from the block. But I didn't want nobody to know that. I wanted to like it's coming from rap.
But you know...
So I wasn't really proud of it to be like, yeah, I'm hustling.
For a lot of people to really put you on a potentially highest level of, we gotta think you at least did something in the street.
Oh
right?
yeah, well, I mean, I'm cut from the cloth of some of the most gangster dudes in America. Like, I was signed to Black Hand. I don't know if you know who Black Hand is, but Chaz Williams was my OG. Chaz Williams, God bless him, he passed away in 2019, but he was one of the most notorious street dudes that America ever seen. He raised me. He was like more like my dad than my manager after my father was no longer present. So the cloth that I'm cut from is the most gangster cloth. Anyway, I could have been lying to y'all the whole time. Y'all would have believed it. Like, I come from the most gangster cloth in America. Fuck New York. You know what I'm saying? If y'all research Black and you'll be like, oh, that's where Grafh comes from. Oh, it's different. So when I say certain things in records, it's different than when other rappers say it.
Can you talk about, because I know you talk about that on some of the records. I'm different. I'm real with it. I'm really from that.
Yeah, it's different with me.
Some of the rules, some of the personal rules that you learned, that you were taught about how to survive in that avenue.
I'm gonna tell you something crazy here. I'll tell you about some of the rules and the street rules and street codes that I was taught, and I'll tell you that me as a grown-ass man now, I grew up and realized that I had to unlearn a lot of that shit. Some of the things that we were taught as kids in the hood was wrong. And we were taught from men that either didn't mature enough or just broken and didn't figure out this whole manhood thing. A lot of this shit I learned was not right. I learned a lot of the right things from Chaz, to be honest. He taught me a lot of things about manhood that was good in the streets. But there were a couple other street guys that I idolized and looked up to that, in my opinion, led me down the wrong path. There was dudes in my life that did 10 years, 5 years, prison time. They the man in the streets, and they would still come to me, and knowing I look up to them, be like, you could take over this hood, right? And give me coke to sell. I'm in college going to school to be a fucking doctor, and I'm a star rapper. Why would you give me work knowing I admire you? Of course I'm like, yeah, I could do it. And now I'm going the wrong path when you should be encouraging me to do the opposite. That's like me at this stage of my life influencing the youth in that direction. I would never do that. Yeah. If I see a young kid with potential, but you're street and you might go the wrong way, I'm gonna pull you away from that. That's what Chaz was doing for me. Chaz would have never allowed me to hustle in that way. So most of the hustling type of things that I did when I was young was behind Chaz's back. Because he would have been ready to shut that shit down. Like, nah, this dude right here got all the potential in the world. That's not who you want to put into the street. You don't want to push him. Because I'm like in the middle. I'm like a kid I'm not like some super ghetto dude. I'm not some super nerd. I'm like in the middle. You know what I'm saying? I'm an educated black hood dude. So it's like I can go either way. So depending on my influence as young is where I'm gonna end up. If it's too much street influence, I'm gonna go all the way this way. If it's too much of this, I'm gonna go this way.
It is a little bit like what Nas talked to me about his youth, that he dabbled in the street. He was much lower. He was pitching on the street a little bit. But the people around him were like, you have something special. Right. You are smarter than the average bird. You could rhyme.
Right.
Like, you don't need to be part of this. We don't have anything else. You got something else. So, like, go do something else.
And you need that when you're young. You need that influence. You need somebody to tell you, no, this is wrong, do that. When you're on the middle where you can go either way because you're influential, I mean, you're easily influenced, and you still look up to the street stuff, especially if you didn't have a dad in your life. Like when you missed a father figure in the home, you're gonna find influence somewhere else. All I had was gangsters and hip hop. There was no other male role models or figures for me to learn how to be a man from. I learned how to tie a fucking tie on YouTube. I didn't have the male role model in the house to learn from. You know what I'm saying? So I learned from the gangster dudes that I admired, and the rest was just literally hip hop. What is Snoop Dogg talking about? What is Nas talking about? What is Jay talking about? What is Scarface talking about? I'm taking all these jewels and put them together and figuring out how to be a man.
So as you're figuring out how to be an MC, you're listening to Nas. Who else are you listening closely to?
At that time,
to define the style that you have become.
Nas, Prodigy, Jadakiss, Eminem, Royce the 5'9", Jay-Z.
Very New York. Now there's 2 Detroit guys in there, but they're also influenced by the New York style.
Right.
So it's a very New York style that you're listening to.
Super New York, super lyrical, super descriptive, metaphorical, and but real. Like they're describing their life very clearly. Like you like I can compare Eminem and Prodigy, not because they rap the same, but because they're both authentic to who they are. The way they describe their life and their experiences, I'm like, that resonates with me. I'm like, I hear the authenticity in what he's saying, and I gravitate towards that. Because I consider myself to be one of the most authentic rappers ever. Like I talk about my truth, and I don't have anything to hide. I'm not ashamed of shit. I just talk about it freely.
And you also are talkers in that you rhyme in a way that seems like talking rather than a yelling sort of louder thing. Like some MCs, it's like, you know, and not good or bad, but like some MCs, like, okay, you don't talk the way you rap, and some MCs, the way they rhyme sounds like the way they talk because they use the throat in a more, let's say, relaxed way, right? A Love Buster, its throat is very filled up when he's rhyming. Jay, right? Nas, they never seem to be straining,
right?
Right, and you're like that. Like it sounds like I'm just talking. Right, but it rhymes and it flows. But I'm just talking.
That's exactly how I make music. Like I'm really just talking and it's rapping. Some of the songs I make, I'm actually just sitting down and just talking. It's rap, but I'm talking to the microphone. I'm not even it's a performative display of how I'm expressing it, but it's a conversation. Yeah, it is talking.
How do you develop? How do you practice? Are you in the house writing and rhyming when we don't see you?
Yes and no, not in that state. It's not like it's clear cut, like practice like an NBA player before a game, but you are honing in on your craft, you're working on it, you're studying, you're listening to what you enjoy. The lucky thing for me is hip hop is like a sport, but while you're studying and learning your craft, you're just listening to music you enjoy. So it's not a job. It's not like I have to go to practice per se, but I'm honing in on my skill because I enjoy it. And I'm listening to Nas, I'm listening to Jay, and I'm enjoying the music. I happen to start picking it apart like a scientist once I start listening to the nuances and seeing how they deliver the shit. Then I'm like, okay, let me learn what's going on to apply it to what I'm doing. But I'm just doing what I enjoy. Like I make music from a place of love. I really care about the culture. I truly care about this shit, bro. Like I make music for people who care about dope shit. That's it. I don't care about the numbers, the accolades. I'm not trying to appeal to nothing. I'm making what I like for people who like cool stuff. That is it. I don't care about. That's why the album I put out before this one, I mean, the last one I released was called Art of Words, but the one before that was called Stop Calling Art Content. And I stand by that. I don't confuse art with content. Some people make content for the sake of being relevant or just because. I don't give a fuck about that. I make art, and you could just make content out of that. Like, I'm gonna do what I believe is cool, what is dope, what is authentic to me. I'm not trying to appeal to anybody. I'm not trying to make what you want to hear. I'm just making what's dope. If you appreciate it, great. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's clearly a lot of love and respect for you because when we look at, you know, your track record, it's got a record with Benny the Butcher, Method Man, Dave East, Memphis Bleak, you know, Jadakiss, right?
Yeah, a couple records of Jadakiss.
I mean, like, serious MCs are like, yes, I will get on a track with him, right? And I imagine you're not big enough to be paying them, right? They're doing it out of like the love and respect and like, we respect you, we want to help you rise, right?
Right. Yeah, that's what it is. And it's not even a matter of not paying them like they're not worth it, of course. Those guys are fucking superstars who I look up to and respect. is that the respect is mutual, which is one of my greatest accomplishments in my career, that the people that I looked up to mutually embraced me the same way and was like, nah, we want to work with you because of what you've done in the culture, what the music means, especially to my city, New York City. Like, there's not that many cut from this cloth that rap this way. So the guys I do records with, it's the mutual respect thing. They want to do it as bad as I want them on a record, they want to work with me in the same fashion. So it's amazing for me. That's one of my biggest accomplishments. Like, the people that I look up to regard me in that same way. Like, nah, we fuck with Grafh. Like, let's get it.
What do we make of where New York hip hop is now? Because we're both old enough to remember when New York was the center of hip hop. It's not at this point. We have some dope people as far as Nicki, Cardi,
right?
Ice Spice is on fire. But, we used to be, there was always 1, 2, 3 top MCs are out of New York. From the Jays to Nas to 50, on. And we're not there anymore. What happened?
I think as of right now, to me, the radio is not as influential with the generation as in terms of deciding who's cool and what we listen to.
Right.
But when the radio was still king and still running shit, the powers that be, the rando stations in this city, was not embracing New York music.
That's what started to pull that.
That's what started the decline.
Radio stations in New York were not centering New York music.
100%. And I think that was probably, I don't know if they were being ran by people out of town that just didn't get it, but they weren't embracing the artists from the city.
And they started pulling in Atlanta and LA and Oakland?
Big time. There was at one point, probably for like a decade, where the New York playlist probably matched or mimicked or mirrored the Atlanta playlist. So y'all would go to Atlanta and hear what records they were playing on the radio and come back to New York and hear the same records. And at me, as a fan of hip-hop and a New Yorker, it would be pissing me the fuck off. Especially as an artist from here, I'd be mad as hell. Like, why is New York radio only playing out-of-towners? If I go to LA and listen to the radio station, especially me, I'm in touch with culture, and I want to be immersed in culture wherever I go to, whether I go to London, Thailand, Japan, or LA, Chicago, wherever I go to, I want to be immersed in the culture. So the first thing I'm going to do if I'm in a town, let's say I go to LA, turn on the radio station, see who's popping, see what's going on. So when I turn on the radio station in LA, I hear what's popping in the city. I hear the artists that's shaking. I hear the ones that are new, the ones that are senior. You hear what's popping in the city. You get a feel of what's going on in the town. Go to Atlanta, same thing. You get a feel. You know right away you're in Atlanta. We turn the radio on. At that time, you come to New York, it didn't sound like New York radio. You barely heard New York artists on the radio in New York for like a decade. And then the artists in my position who was still grinding, trying to get to the top, we were fighting to get position and get heard and get attention from the radio, and they weren't embracing us back then. And that shit I used to be tight. I remember there was one time in a club, I would never forget, and I say this because when you're an artist and you're touring the country, no matter what city you're in, the DJs in that city, if there's a bunch of out-of-towners in the club, they're gonna let you know where you at. Let's say you in Atlanta. You in Atlanta, nigga. Right. They're gonna play a lot of Atlanta music.
Right.
They gonna big up all the Atlanta people, and they're gonna do it in front of you, not to stunt on you, but to show you, you here, you in Atlanta.
Right.
We had lost that. And I remember one time being in the club, and I think it was Ross, I think Jeezy, and somebody else in the club from out of town. And it was a bunch of New York dudes in the club. And the DJs that were on were only shouting out the out-of-town dudes and wasn't shouting out the New York guys. And I remember going up to the DJ, I remember going to say who, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, nigga, this is in New York. Why don't you let them know where they at?
Right.
You bigging them up more than us here. We in New York.
Right.
What is on you? What are you doing?
Right.
Did you forget where you at?
Right.
You're not in Miami. You're not in Atlanta. This is New York.
Right.
Now, if we go to their city, you're going to know where you at.
Right.
If you in Miami, this Dade County, nigga, you see the pride. They're going to play the music. You're going to be like, okay. But you're going to appreciate it because you want to know what's up in the city. You want to feel the culture. And we lost that for a minute. And we didn't really get it back in terms of the radio until Trinidad James said it. He said it disrespectfully, so niggas had a problem with it. He was fucking right, though. He was like, I turned on the radio in New York. And I know him personally, so I know he wanted to hear New York shit. He said it disrespectfully, so niggas had a problem with it. But the point he made was, I'm in New York, listening to New York radio, and it sounded like Atlanta. What the fuck?
So wait, if we all know radio was a driver of music culture years ago, what is that driver now?
The internet, streaming, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. wherever people are going to get culture from, that's where it's at. But it's all happening online. Like, I don't know any young people that go to the radio to hear what's hot.
Right.
You hear what's mainstream, but what the fuck does that mean?
Right.
Even the mainstream, they're more like dinosaurs to me. They go to the internet to know what's hot. By the time it's on the radio, it's late.
Dead.
It's old to people that know what's up. It's old to them.
But a game for you is video on YouTube, promote on TikTok, popping up on Instagram, letting everybody see you like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to where people are at. I don't care what the medium is. If human beings with ears are there, I'm there. You know what I'm saying? So if y'all are on Instagram, if y'all are on YouTube, then that's where I'm going.
But you're too big for SoundCloud.
No, I wouldn't say too big for SoundCloud. Wherever ears are listening, I want music there. Wherever eyes are looking, I want to put music there. I don't even look at what the medium is. I give no fucks. If you're listening, if you're paying attention, I'm there.
You have made a gigantic splash with the mixtapes.
Yeah, I did.
And you said, yeah, I did.
I did. I was the number one guy on the mixtape for a minute. It was me and 50. When I first came out, it was me and 50 that was the hottest dudes on the mixtape.
I mean, I miss the mixtape culture.
It was fun.
It was really special.
Yeah.
I remember because I'm in Brooklyn every Friday, going down to Flatbush. I knew right where the guy would be, get some CDs, right? First it was cassettes, but for a long time it was CDs. Doo-Wop, Clue, Ron G, whoever. And guys would spit differently. Busta, Fat Joe, whoever, 50, would jump on a track and they would try something different, a flow, a voice, a style, whatever, that was different than what they did for their real stuff.
Right.
And I'm like, I really feel like connected to you guys and to the culture, like seeing people try stuff and that. And, there was always a song where you had 3 established guys and some guy you never heard of outspaz them. So now you're like, who's this guy? What's he all about? He beat, this one and this one and this one of that record. So what's going on? And it was just such an exciting, it's like subculture within hip hop. And it's sort of, it has, I think with the internet, it has gone away. And I miss it.
Because the tapes, I miss it too. Let me just say that. That was a fun time in hip hop because you had to wait to hear your favorite artist do something exclusive. The internet takes its instant gratification now. It takes all that away. So you can't have a mixtape hype and wait for the tape to drop. You can't wait for the new Clue or the new Flex tape or whatever it is because...
But it's too big. The internet exposes you to too big of an audience, right? The mixtape scene, we could try new things, new words, new flavors, voices, whatever. And you knew... You kind of had to know where to go to find the stuff, so you're making the music for people who really care about hip hop, and it's really a small underground love. And if you flop or you get beat by somebody new, 10,000 people heard it, and they understand the game, and you don't lose anything. The internet would take that and look, Busta lost to this nobody from friggin' Long Island on this record, well, I can't risk that. Right? I can't try new things and that. So, it just made the audience too big. But
I get it. And the thing about the internet too is that once it's online, and you're a meme or whatever it is, you can't live it down. You can't have any L's, take any L's in peace. You can't even I give you an example, and this is kind of off point but on point. When I was younger, right, there was some dudes in my neighborhood that we were beefing all the time. Every time we saw each other on site, we fought a million times. They jumped me, took my chain pop. They had one of my chains. I saw them the next week, beat their ass, took his chain. I'm wearing his chain, he's wearing my chain. We young. Every time we see each other on site for years. And this is years ago, right? Now us as grown men, we see each other now. It's all love. What up, my nigga? Yo, I love the new song you got out there. It's love. We have conversations.
They rap too?
Nah, they just dudes from around my way.
Your music, yeah.
But not even about the music. I'm just saying the camaraderie. We're cool now. We see each other. We used to go to war on site every single time we saw each other. 1 million fights. And now we see each other now. It's love. But our point is, let me make my point. If the internet was popping back then, we could have never been cool. If them fights were recorded and posted on the internet,
Grafh
you can't live that down.
To so-and-so.
And then they jumped, this guy took his chain back, Grafh got his chain, it would have been a movie. We'd have been shooting at each other forever, to this day. Grown-ass men in wheelchairs, 80 years old, still, pow, pow,
But wait.
You know what I'm saying?
When your relationship with a certain man or a certain crew is this on site, and now it's not, but there must have been a moment when you saw each other and didn't, and somehow got to a truce level where it's like, okay, we were kids, we're not doing that anymore. How do you do that? And how do you even trust them that like they're not gonna jump me?
Nah, the way that particular situation died, because there was a time when I was tired of fighting and wanted to squash it, and they were still on time, and they wasn't letting it happen. And then when they were ready to squash it, we were like, nah, fuck that, we ain't squashing it. So it went on for so long. And then what happened is 4 of the main guys that were actually tough, they went to jail. They got caught shooting at some undercovers or some crazy stuff, and they went to jail. And then that's when it really just died down. It was like, okay, we're not beefing no more. But by the time those guys were home and everybody grew up and we seen each other, it was just love. It was no discrepancy, no beef or nothing. But my point is, if those interactions, those wins and losses, because I lost some fights and won some.
Right.
They lost some and won some. If all of those discrepancies and fights and beefs and all that shit got caught on camera and was on the internet and went viral and all of this shit, there would have been no way to be mature about it and just squash it and be cool now.
Right.
So, like you said, it opens the audience up so big that you can't make mistakes. You can't be free.
No, there's definitely those.
Once it's documented and your loss is documented, it's like you can't even be cool with somebody. You know what I'm
There's
saying?
definitely those stories from the 80s of so-and-so getting some big rapper got his chain taken. But
you didn't see it. You just heard it.
Saw it.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's
Over.
just rumors in the way. Did LL get his chain taken? Probably, maybe. I don't know. Who did? I don't know. But if you saw it,
Right. It's different.
it's different.
Right. So that's what I mean.
Where's the name Grafh from?
Graph is actually derived from the word graphic art.
Okay.
So graphics. It was graphics when I was in high school. Then I think my friends just started calling me Grafh.
Are you a visual artist?
Yeah, I still draw, but I do like graffiti and stuff on like leather bags. I create leather bags and jackets, and I painted this whole mannequin and stuff like that. Like I used to draw heavy. Like I still do. I'm heavily into art, but back then I was more into art than the music.
Like the comic book aesthetic or the graffiti aesthetic, or
A little of both. Graffiti, comic book, like all of that. As a matter of fact, I'm taking some of my old artwork now and turning them into NFTs. I just got a deal for that, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, I was always into art and drawing, and so the music was actually an extension of that. Like I'm just still drawing, but painting pictures with words now. You know what I mean?
So you just dropped your album. What is the plan? How do you take the music, the talent, the respect you're getting, and keep it going, keep the career going, and maybe, I'm sure you want to get bigger.
Of course.
Right? So what is the plan?
Well, the plan is, of course, to satisfy what the fans want, grow and grow and grow. But I'm going to put out probably 2 albums every year moving forward, do bigger and bigger tours, do my own
2
tour.
albums a year?
I think I'm going to do 2 albums a year. I'm going to do my own tours because I've been on the last tour I went on was Joyner Lucas tour, which was amazing. That tour was really dope for me because it was, one, I became a better performer, just learning from Joyner and everybody around and performing for a new audience that didn't know me. So it's like when you're performing for an audience that doesn't know you, you have to prove yourself. So you're gonna go harder. You know what I'm saying? So I was killing those shows and really turning up. So I think I made myself a better performer, a better communicator, and I just learned a lot how to put my own tour together. So I'm gonna put together my own tour, and then that's gonna lead to tours. I'm also I started my own company, which is Team Bang Dope Gang. That's my music label. I'm gonna sign artists, give other artists opportunities to shine and elevate through my resources. And I'm just gonna keep compiling music and build my network and just grow and level up. Every project to me is a level up, a stepping stone to the next level.
I mean, talent is super important, but hits are the thing. And hits are not necessarily meritocracy. You know, a dope rapper may not get a hit, right? And an okay rapper may. Is there a necessity to create some hits, to create bigger recognition?
Hits are defined by what metric, though? Because when you say hits, it's like, okay, you think about a record with commercial success on the radio, which might mean a radio record or a club record.
Or internet hit.
Or
right?
you have an internet hit that goes viral for you, which could be any type of record that people just like. Like right now, the record I have with that's called Rockefeller Chain with Freeway and PD Crack, it's not quintessentially a hit per se, but people are fucking with it. It's going like for my level where I'm at career-wise, that's viral for me. This shit is getting thousands and thousands of views. People are talking about it all over the country, and I'm like happy as fuck right now. And I'm like, wow, this is being really well received. So but nobody would consider that a hit per se, but it's doing what a hit does. So it's like, since I'm like, what is a hit?
But is that what you need, more of those, or are you trying to treat something else?
I just make music, man. So it's like, if it ends up being a hit, great. Like, I make a lot of records that are dope in different planes. Like, I have some records that are actually would be considered a hit on the radio or a hit in the club, but they might not have the money behind it. When you hear a hit record on the radio, what makes a hit, it's probably about $200,000. You know what I'm saying? It's about the marketing, because you could have the best song you heard on the radio. If that song didn't have the marketing behind it, you would have never heard it. It wouldn't have blew up. Then listen to this point. Let's say you take a record like, name a hit that you like name a record.
Let's say Goldie ASAP comes to mind.
Let's say Goldie ASAP, right? Without marketing behind it, or the whatever financial ad spend they put on that record, you would not know the name of that record. You probably would have never heard it. And then who's to say if that
there's no organic hits?
To some degree, but it's still you still got to pay to play once you reach a certain level where the masses know it and it's added to radio and it's spinning all day. Oh, that shit costs. Those slots are paid for. That is not free. That is not just because it's hot. No, that's expensive. So when you know it and it's worldwide and it's a hit, top 40, top 20, that shit is expensive. And once it's mainstream on that level, it costs. So without that budget, you would have never knew that song existed. Now, if you heard that same song without that budget, is it a hit?
If I heard it, no. You made me wonder.
You get my point, though? Like,
oh, I do.
If he just played a few in his car before it really blew up, you might be like, oh, that song was cool. But then once it's a hit and you know it,
I might love it, but would it be a hit? But you made me wonder.
You know what I mean?
Think about this a lot.
Is it a hit if it's not paid for?
Radio or whoever played a song at you 100 times, and not just you, but the people,
right?
Would they start to like it? Like, just because you heard it 100 times?
Most
in a
likely,
week?
yes. That's a part of what you pay for when it comes to a hit. The song it doesn't have to be that great. If you get brainwashed with it and repetition, you hear it over and over and over, now you like it.
Because there's some records we love. First listen.
Some songs are just dope off the rip,
and some songs take time to grow on you. And I'm like, did they incept me with "you're gonna like this" because I played it 100 times, or I finally understood it because I heard it?
Might be a little of both, but we'll never know. That's the point. Because once that check get cut, it don't matter. You will hear it 100 times, and whether it's that good or not, we will not know.
So wait, you're independent.
Right.
But you were on Rockefeller.
Yes.
And you joined Rockefeller at the same time as Kanye.
Yes.
How did you even get to that?
Me and Kanye, Dame Dash brought Kanye and I to Rockefeller. But before that, I got to Kanye through 88 Keys.
Okay.
Him and 88 Keys were like best friends.
Right.
So when I started working with Kanye, it was, for me, it was just a learning experience. I was still new in the game, and he was still new too. He wasn't like a big rapper. He was a big producer at that time.
Right.
So when I started working with Kanye, I just learned a lot about how to structure music. And I did less recording with him and just more watching him and learning, because he was always a genius. Like, people would be like, oh, Kanye changed. Now, he never changed. He was that guy all the time. He was a musical genius, and which I consider weird or outspoken the whole time. Like, when I was around him early, he was the same person. He always has those traits. He was always a perfectionist. Like, I remember there was one song he played. It was like a 3-minute song. And while the song is fading out, he adds this snare, like that doesn't exist in the rest of the record. And he was so hyped about this. Now, you hear that snare that comes in at the end? I was like, kinda. Nobody's gonna hear it, but he's so excited about the snare that's fading out that nobody's gonna hear. But he's that meticulous for his shit. He was always a genius with the music. So I was just really soaking up game and learning from him. And I learned how to count bars and format records just watching him and working with him. So I didn't get to make a whole lot of records with Kanye, but I made enough and learned a lot about song structure and how to create on a higher level.
So how'd you get to Dame?
Dame, how did we get to Dame? At this time, I think, I don't remember how we got to Dame, to be honest. Probably just moving around the industry and meeting him. Or maybe I got to Dame through Chaz. Maybe through Chaz, my OG. I think they knew each other already. But around that time, Dame Dash brought me and Kanye over to Rockefeller.
Because you seem like a much more natural fit for Rockefeller. Kanye was always like, he don't fit, but we were gonna rock with him anyway.
Right. Well, Dame saw the vision, which was dope because Kanye was already over there as a producer.
Right.
They didn't sign him as an artist.
Right.
But at that time, the only person that believed in Kanye was Kanye. That's why I respect Kanye so much because he didn't give a fuck what nobody said about him.
Dame believed in him.
Dame believed
and
it too.
Jay did not.
Jay didn't believe in him in the beginning. Dame saw the vision.
Right.
Dame. That's why I look at Dame such a visionary too because. Yes, let me rephrase that. The only two people that believed in Kanye was Kanye, me, and Dame.
Right.
I already knew because I was already around Kanye all the time. He had some of the most amazing records that he's so meticulous with about nobody would ever hear. The world will never hear them, but they were so dope. I'm like, yo, put this out. Nah, I gotta change this, change that. But it's fire, but you'll never hear it because he might be like, I gotta change this one word at the end that nobody's gonna hear, but it's dope. But he's just that meticulous with his shit. But Dame saw the vision. And he brought me and Kanye to the rock around the same time. Word.
Did that change your career?
It would have if I got to go the distance with Rockefeller.
But they broke up. Dave and Jay broke up.
Unfortunately, yeah. I signed at a time when Jay and Dame were right about to break up. So by the time the ink was dry on my deal, their relationship was over. So I never got to tour with The Rock and get the whole chain and make a project and put all the songs. I didn't get the whole Rockefeller experience. And I was like, God damn it. This is a dream come true that's not coming true right now. But it's out of my control. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't, there's nothing I can do about it. Like the label is falling apart.
Right.
I can't, all I could do is dream the dream. You know what I'm saying? So, but I got the opportunity to travel to London with them. I met all of the whole crew, Bleak, Young Guns, Beanie, everybody at one time in London. That was my first time traveling overseas, career-wise, and that experience was crazy. I'm like, wow, I'm in London with Rockefeller. This shit is nuts. But then by the time we got back to America, it was like, it was over. I was like, shit.
But being independent, how's that? Because you don't have the machine behind you, but you can do whatever you want and you make more of the money, right? But you probably bring in less, but you keep more of it.
You bring in more, but you spend more. So it's like, it's depending on what level you're at in your career, it can hurt you or help you. Like he watched somebody like Joyner Lucas, who's independent now, but he was on a major at first. When he makes money from his records, he makes a shitload of it. But he also invests a lot of money into the music. So he'll spend a lot to invest into the music, but the amount he makes back is like tenfold. You know what I'm trying to say? And there's a lot of artists that do well independently at that level. But I had to learn the business structure independently to make the money that I'm making now. It's you'll spend more than you're making for a minute before you figure it out. Like, it's expensive to play this game, you know what I mean? So being independent has its pros and cons. If you know how to play the game right, it's way better to be independent in this day and age, way better. If you don't, then you might need an investor or a job, a good one, to invest in yourself to make it make sense for you monetarily. If you want to make money from this business, you gotta, like any business, you gotta invest in it. But if you look at, I gotta get a record deal, that might not be the answer either, because to me, a record deal is just a fucking bad loan. You can get a bad deal, and not go anywhere either and just be in debt. So it's just, that the record deal is not, depending on how it's structured, that might not be your best answer either. It's a bad loan. The deal is not structured in your favor.
If you have a record deal, you're making like, what, 5% of the money that your album brings in?
Or 12%, some shit like that.
Something like 10, 12, 5, 12, 10?
The numbers are so ridiculously, it's disproportionate. It's
independent, how much, like what percentage of your album are you actually taking home?
On a decent deal, like 80%. And your company, the distributor will take like 20%. You might even get a better deal than that. I have deals where I'm paying them 12%, I'm taking 82.
But you don't have the machine that can pay for a video that, because you
have to spend it yourself and make the money back.
Video.
Yeah, you got to pay your own video, your own travel, your own mixes, you got to spend everything up front, all your ads. You're spending thousands of dollars before you start making the money you want to make. So if you don't have the money to invest to play the game, it's going to be hard.
So all right, so you're taking home 80, but you got to pay all the expenses.
All of them.
So when you factor in that, what percentage you think you're actually taking home?
It's hard to do it that way because you're also making money from your merch, streams, ticket sales. In this lane that I'm into, when you're doing like lyrical underground rap, you sell vinyl. There's so many other factors that come into it. So it's hard to do it that way.
Okay.
But let's just say of your total gross, you're probably taking in after you pay your team, let's say 60% of your money.
60. That's way more than I thought you'd say.
Yeah, maybe you're still making a profit. If you're taking less than that, you're in the red. So you still take, let's say if you make $100 out of $100, you probably still going home with 55, 60, depending on how you pay, who you got to pay, and all those things. It depends. Some albums I made more than some. It's all subjective how you do your business.
How do you write?
I write in my head most of the time.
Oh, you know pen to paper?
No.
Really?
Sometimes. Like if you look at my notes, people think I'm like a mad scientist. You'll see like 4 lines and it'll be a whole song. You'll be like, how is this a song? I might just write the ideas or the end words that rhyme with the sentence. I write weird. Like it's not a whole, I never write out the whole music. A lot of it is in my head. So even when I perform on a microphone, because it's not all written, each time I say it, I might say it different. Because I'm just, half of it is in my head and 1/4 of it is on paper.
Some people have said doing it that way, it's easier to fit it into the music, right? Because it's
you feel it more sometimes.
It's more fluid rather than I wrote these words and I have to say these words in this order.
Right. For me, I agree with that. Sometimes it's like that. But sometimes if I have a clear, concise thought, I might write it. So I have no rhyme or reason to how I do this shit. Or I could write it in my phone. Or it might be an idea. And I'm like a sponge, like a 360-degree sponge where I'm soaking up influence all day, 24 hours a day. So I'll take even things out of this room, you might hear it coming in a song in the future. Because I soak up influence all day.
Do you need to hear the track to start writing, or you start writing and then fit it to the track?
Both. It depends. If the track inspires a feeling or an idea, then I'll go that way. I'll do what the music says. But then sometimes I have an idea with no music. I just have an idea. I'll be like, let me write this down. Like my phone is full of notes. Just full of notes. Like, it could be one word. You might say one word right now, but like, I'm gonna write that word down. And then I'll take that one word and write a verse just off the word. Just because I like the way the words sound or the amount of syllables it has in it. Because if you listen to my music, it's a lot of syllable-based components to it that make it rhythmic. And I'm Jamaican too, so a lot of rhythm comes from my culture, the background, and the way I use syllables. So you might say a word that might have 5 syllables and rhyme with a bunch of other shit in my head. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take that word and rhyme it with this and rhyme it with that and talk about this. So one word will spawn a whole song for me.
I've been doing a lot of study on how Jamaica is a central influence on hip hop. And we talk about it comes from the Bronx, and it does. But Jamaica is a critical part, like a critical father of hip hop.
I could agree with that. Some of the 4 founders, like I know Kool Herc, he was Jamaican.
Directly from Kingston.
Yeah.
And what he was doing as far as talking over the records, the giant speakers, he just did what he saw in Kingston. And just brought it over. We had not seen that like that. But that's normal there. He just transported it here.
Especially the rhythm, the way they freestyle, the way those shows are set up with the big speakers, all of that shit is from Jamaica. Word. Like Jamaican artists freestyle half they set. They're freestyling. And it's rhythm.
Yeah.
So I didn't think about it the way you just said it. I'm like, wow, yeah. They're just saying, yeah. You couldn't say it's derived from Jamaica. That makes a lot of sense.
So what is next?
Next, right now, I'm focusing on the children. I have a program that I put in school called Music Therapy. Yes, that is my brainchild.
What is that?
Music Therapy is a curriculum and a program that me and my partner Touré has created where we come into the inner city schools, teach these kids about music, hip hop, essentially, where I bring my laptop, I bring the speakers, I bring the microphone, I teach them how to rap, how to teach them song structure, some of the music business. But the most important part of the program is that it's about expressing your true feelings. Like, true feelings come out in the arts. So the program is designed for you to actually get your to be like therapy and get your actual feelings out, especially in New York City, because the drill music took over, and a lot of the drill music is bang, bang, shoot 'em up shit, spinning on my ops and all of that. First rule I say in my program, all ops live here. Not trying to hear that shit.
All
ops live. All ops live. I be in the class, they be like, yo, spin a block, like, did you kill an op today? No, what'd you do today? You had a bad day at lunch? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what you're feeling. Let's go through your actual emotions. I want to hear the pain.
Today Was a Good Day is an iconic song.
Right.
Nobody gets shot.
Right.
Ice Cube said, "I had a good day," and we'll never forget that record.
Right.
Right? And it's that's probably the realest record he ever wrote.
That's real shit.
Right? And like we love that, and that's what you're talking about.
Kind of like that, but not just from this.
Like just be real.
Just be real. Because we're so, if you think about the phrase childhood trauma, yeah, the trauma comes from your childhood, which means the kids are in pain now. Yeah. So when somebody like me that I identify to comes to the classroom and teaches them about self-expression, somebody that I know, I'm from the hood and I didn't learn how to express love in a positive way or frustration in a positive way. We learn how to express anger, and we learn that expressing love was not cool. You can't cry. You can't be weak. I'm here to tell you, no, you can cry. You can show weakness. You can be vulnerable right now. You can express real pain in this course, and we're going to do it through the music. So maybe you might not feel comfortable saying, oh, I'm hurt by this, I'm hurt by that, or this made me cry last night, or this breaks my heart. That might not be comfortable for you to say in a conversation because it doesn't feel manly because we taught all the wrong shit young. But in a song, you're gonna say it. You're gonna get this pain out through music. Like in one of my courses, one of the kids, and he was one of the tougher kids, he said in a song, I forgot how he said it, but he basically said the mom left the dad and the stepdad is abusing him. It comes out in the song. And then when I hear things like that, I'm like, let me bring this to the principal because I'm not an actual therapist. I don't know what to do with this, but I'm glad you got it out. And another one of my kids said that
what grades?
That grade was, I do all grades. We do from like elementary school up to high school. We're doing all grades right now. But that grade, that was a junior high school.
You're in 10 schools with
Yeah,
this?
about 10 schools, yep. It's called music therapy, man. It's really important. And I'm so glad they have me. I wish I had a me when I was growing up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm basically being the version of me that I wish I had. You know what I mean?
That's dope.
Really connected with these kids in a real way. It's not like I'm just in here. This is my third year doing it. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even making it public, like on Instagram or to the public that I was doing this. The person who told me to start pushing it and making it public was Emory Jones over at Rock Nation. Uh-huh. I sat with him, had a meeting about this, and I also have the support of Rock Nation with this program. He was like, you got to make this public, brother. This is a big deal what you're doing. Like, push it like a record. Like, let the world know you're doing this work. I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. He's like, you tripping. Put it out there. So I started to like make the content and put it out there so people could see it, and it started to scale up really fast for me once people could see we were doing this work. But it's from the heart. It's real. You know what I'm saying? We're really coming in these schools and affecting change and helping these kids get in touch with who they are and get the pain out, man. So that's what we're doing right now.
You've had a lot of incredible collabs, a lot of incredible MCs on songs with you. Mm-hmm. Let's put something out into the air. Who do you want to be on a record with who you have not yet been on a record with?
Dream collabos for Grafh. Jesus. Let me stop. There's so many people that I want to work with, to be honest. Well, when I came in the game, they used to call me the Black Eminem because I was always getting compared to Eminem. So he's one of my bucket list artists. Eminem, of course, Jay-Z, I would love that. But those are like my Nas, forget about it. Those guys are like my bucket list guys because they influenced me so much. But some of the dudes that's kicking ass now, I like so many people that's doing their thing, man. I like Lil Baby. I like what the Baby's doing. I like Corday. There's a couple guys that I like, to be honest, man. Even my bro Joyner Lucas. We just did a song, so I guess he's not on the list. We just did a song, but before we did the song, he was on the list. You know what I mean? Shout out to my boy Joyner. There's so many people that whose work I appreciate. I'm just go with Nas. Nas would probably be my dream collabo right now. Like Nas, I would love that word because he's the reason why I rap. Nas. Word.
So everybody who comes on the show, pretty much ask them, what does it mean to be Black, and how does it show up in your work? And hip hop is so Black, at least when it's good.
Right. Word.
But Blackness is a huge part of who you are, where you're from,
Absolutely.
what you're all about. Mm-hmm. What does it mean to you?
What it means to be Black? That's a good question. Pride. I wouldn't want to be anybody or anything else. I'm Black. I'm American, but I'm Jamaican. My whole family's Jamaican, so I'm super proud of where I'm from. Proud of my roots. We are culture. When you're Black, you are culture. Mm-hmm. Like literally, culture does not exist without us. There is no Instagram. There is no Facebook. There is no TikTok.
Just the whole Twitter, music culture.
Without Black, we are culture. If we don't stamp it and say it's cool then it's not cool.
I mean, back to blues, gospel, rock, soul.
We created all.
All of that.
We are the muse for everything that exists that is cool.
Yes.
Everything that can influence you in any type of way. Anything that and we are the voice of the youth. Just being black in general. We are culture. So to me, to be black is to be culture.
That's what's up.
Word.
That's dope. Thank you.
Nah, thank you.
That was awesome.
Thank you
so much.
Hey, if you like what you saw today, be sure to check out more Touré Show content right here. Don't forget to click that subscribe button for more Touré Show content every week.